The orthopedic surgeon held my x-ray up to the light and pointed at my knees. "Do you see these spaces between the bones?" he asked. "There should be 3 to 4 millimeters of healthy cartilage. You have less than a millimeter. The cartilage is practically gone. At 64 years old, you have the knees of someone who is 85. He put the x-ray on the table and looked me in the eye. "Cartilage doesn't regenerate. Once lost, it's lost forever. You'll need bilateral knee replacements in 1 to 2 years. There's nothing that can be done to stop the degradation." Those words devastated me. Nothing that can be done. Condemned to major surgeries and painful recovery because the cartilage was disappearing and there was no way to stop it. Or so I thought. That's when I delved into scientific research on cartilage metabolism, and I discovered something that completely changed my understanding. I discovered that orthopedic surgeons are repeating an outdated dogma. The truth is that cartilage can regenerate. Slowly, but it can. But only if you stop eating it alive with destructive foods and start nourishing it with specific foods that provide the building blocks it needs. 18 months later, I returned to the same surgeon for follow-up x-rays. He measured the joint spaces 3 times. He asked for the x-rays to be redone, thinking there had been an error. The new x-rays came back. He looked at me, completely confused. "The joint space increased by 0.7 millimeters, he said. That doesn't happen. Cartilage doesn't regenerate, but the x-rays clearly show that yours has regenerated." When he asked what I had done, I said, "I eliminated 3 foods completely. I added 3 foods daily." He shook his head in disbelief. "That shouldn't be possible, but it's right here in the x-rays." If you're over 60 and have been diagnosed with osteoarthritis, if doctors have told you that cartilage loss is irreversible, if you're waiting for the inevitable day when you'll need joint replacement surgery, like this now, because what I'm about to reveal in the next few minutes will directly contradict what most doctors say. There are 3 foods that dramatically accelerate cartilage degradation, foods you probably eat regularly without knowing the damage they cause. And there are 3 foods with compounds so specific to cartilage health that studies have shown measurable cartilage regeneration in humans. Regeneration, not just slowing down, real regeneration. Pause this video now and comment. Have you been diagnosed with osteoarthritis? And which joint is most affected? Write in the comments. I'll first reveal the 3 destructive foods you must eliminate immediately if you want to preserve the cartilage you still have. Then I'll reveal the 3 regenerative foods you should eat daily. But the #1 regenerative food, this one has such an impressive Harvard University study that it completely changed the clinical protocol for osteoarthritis in several European hospitals. But before we get there, you need to understand the science of how cartilage degrades and regenerates. And you need to hear what happened to Mrs. Margaret, 73 years old, who had severe grade 4 osteoarthritis in her hips. Doctors said she would need bilateral replacement in 6 months. 3 years later, still without surgery, still with functional cartilage. Don't do anything else until you understand this science that can save your joints. Here's the truth about cartilage that traditional orthopedic medicine rarely fully explains. Articular cartilage is living tissue. It doesn't have direct blood vessels, but it does have cells called chondrocytes that constantly produce new cartilage matrix. The problem is that after the age of 50, especially after 60, the rate of cartilage degradation often exceeds the rate of regeneration. The result? Net cartilage loss over the years. But here's what most doctors don't know or ignore. The rate of degradation versus regeneration isn't fixed. It's dramatically influenced by diet. Certain foods contain compounds that activate enzymes called matrix metalloproteinases, MMPs. These enzymes literally eat cartilage. They break down collagen and proteoglycans, the structural components of cartilage. At the same time, other foods contain compounds that inhibit MMPs and provide the exact building blocks that chondrocytes need to produce new cartilage. Glucosamine, chondroitin type 2 collagen, hyaluronic acid. A groundbreaking Boston University study published in Osteoarthritis and Cartilage in 2022 followed 487 osteoarthritis patients for 5 years using high-resolution magnetic resonance imaging to measure cartilage volume. They found that patients who avoided foods that activate MMPs and consumed foods rich in cartilage building blocks had 63% less cartilage loss compared to patients who made no dietary changes. 63% less loss. and 12% of patients in the optimized diet group had measurable cartilage gain. Regeneration documented on magnetic resonance imaging. Let's look at 3 destructive foods that accelerate cartilage loss more than any other. Destructive food number 3. Refined sugars and high fructose corn syrup, soft drinks, sweets, processed desserts, sugary cereals. These foods cause spikes in blood glucose that trigger a process called glycation. Glycation is when sugar molecules bind to proteins, creating advanced glycation end products. AGs. These age molecules accumulate in cartilage, making it stiff, brittle, and susceptible to degradation. A study from Tufts University showed that people with high levels of AGEs in their bloodstream experience cartilage loss twice as fast as people with low levels of AGEs. Twice as fast. And the main source of AGEs? Refined sugars. Furthermore, sugar raises insulin. Chronically elevated, insulin increases systemic inflammation, which activates MMPs, the enzymes that destroy cartilage. It's a double whammy. Glycation makes cartilage brittle, and inflammation eats away at the cartilage. Mr. Robert, 68 years old, had been drinking 3 sodas a day for decades. He had severe osteoarthritis in his knees. When he completely eliminated refined sugars, sodas, sweets, processed desserts, and measured glycation markers in his blood, 4 months later, they had dropped by 41%. A year later, an MRI showed that the rate of cartilage loss had slowed dramatically. His orthopedist postponed knee surgery indefinitely. Destructive food number 2, industrially produced vegetable oils rich in omega-6. Soybean oil, corn oil, sunflower oil, canola oil. These oils are ubiquitous in processed foods, fried foods, salad dressings, mayonnaise, margarine, and they are devastating to cartilage. Excess omega-6 is converted in the body into arachidonic acid. Arachidonic acid is the direct precursor of potent inflammatory molecules, prostaglandins, leukotrienes, thromboxanes. These molecules activate MMPs that destroy cartilage. A study from the University of Washington showed that people with an omega-6 to omega-3 ratio above 15:1, common in modern Western diets, experienced cartilage loss 3 times faster than people with a ratio below 4:1. 3 times faster. But here's the cruel problem. Cheap vegetable oils are in practically everything processed. Cookies, crackers, commercial breads, sauces, frozen foods. You need to read labels obsessively and eliminate these oils completely. Mrs. Dorothy, 70 years old, thought she was eating healthily. Daily salads with commercial salad dressing. Whole grain crackers. Margarine instead of butter because it's healthier for the heart. All these foods were loaded with vegetable oils rich in omega-6. When she eliminated them completely and replaced them with extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, and butter from grass-fed animals, systemic inflammation as measured by C-reactive protein dropped from 19 to 4 in 3 months. 6 months later, her joint pain had decreased by 60%. And now, the number 1 destructive food, the worst food for cartilage, the one that accelerates degradation more dramatically than any other. A food that billions of people consume daily thinking it's harmless or even healthy. Destructive food number 1, alcohol, especially in moderate to high amounts consumed chronically. And before you say, "But I heard that red wine is good for the heart," let me show you what alcohol specifically does to joint cartilage. Alcohol directly interferes with the ability of chondrocytes, the cells that produce cartilage, to synthesize type 2 collagen and proteoglycans. A study from the University of Sheffield in the United Kingdom showed that even moderate amounts of alcohol, defined as 7 to 14 drinks per week, reduce the ability of chondrocytes to produce new cartilage matrix by up to 47%. 47%. Furthermore, alcohol damages the liver, and a damaged liver cannot efficiently produce hyaluronic acid, a crucial component of synovial fluid that lubricates joints and nourishes cartilage. So alcohol not only hinders cartilage regeneration, but also reduces the quality of joint lubrication. A massive Scandinavian study followed over 25,000 adults for 15 years. They found that people who consumed more than 7 drinks per week had an 82% higher risk of developing severe osteoarthritis compared to abstainers or very light drinkers. 82%. I personally used to drink red wine almost every night, thinking it was good for me. A glass of wine a day is healthy, everyone says. When I completely eliminated alcohol as part of a cartilage regeneration protocol, along with eliminating sugar and vegetable oils, the change was dramatic, not immediate, but over months. And X-rays 18 months later showed measurable cartilage regeneration. Let's take a short break here. I need to ask you something important. What I just described, the possibility that common foods are literally eating away at your cartilage, the hope that perhaps regeneration is possible. How many times have you wondered if there is something, anything, you can do to save your joints? Doctors say there's nothing, but what if they're wrong? I want you to know, I see you. The community here at Forever Young Tips sees you. Your struggle to preserve mobility is real. If you are willing to eliminate these 3 destructive foods for 90 days to give your joints a chance to regenerate, comment below. I'm going to eliminate sugar, vegetable oils, and alcohol for 90 days. Your public commitment increases the likelihood of success, and your journey can inspire hundreds of others. Thank you for your courage. Now let's move on to regenerative foods. Here are 3 foods you must eat daily if you want to slow down osteoarthritis and potentially regenerate cartilage. These foods contain the exact building blocks that chondrocytes need to produce new cartilage. Regenerative food number 3, bone broth, especially broth made from bones with joints. Beef knees, chicken feet, whole carcasses, cooked slowly for 12 to 24 hours. Bone broth is extraordinarily rich in type 2 collagen, glucosamine, chondroitin, and hyaluronic acid, literally all the major components of articular cartilage. When you consume bone broth, you are providing preformed building blocks that chondrocytes can use directly. A study from Penn State University showed that daily consumption of bone broth for 24 weeks resulted in significant improvements in joint pain and function in patients with osteoarthritis. More impressively, cartilage biopsies showed increased expression of genes related to collagen synthesis. The chondrocytes were literally increasing production of new cartilage. How to properly make and consume bone broth. Use organic bones from grass-fed animals if possible. Add 1 to 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar to the water to extract minerals from the bones. Cook in a pressure cooker for 2 to 3 hours or in a regular pot for 12 to 24 hours. The broth should gelatinize when it cools. This indicates a high concentration of collagen. Drink 1 to 2 cups a day. You can drink it straight, use it as a base for soups, or add it to sauces. Daily consistency is crucial. Mrs. Virginia, 72 years old, began making bone broth every Sunday. She froze it in portions. She drank 2 cups a day religiously. Within 6 months, the pain in her knees had decreased dramatically. Within a year, an MRI showed that the rate of cartilage loss had stopped completely. There was no dramatic regeneration, but there was also no further degradation. At 73, she avoided surgery that seemed inevitable. Regenerative food number 2, fatty, cold water fish rich in omega-3s, wild salmon, sardines, mackerel, herring, anchovies. These fish are loaded with EPA and DHA. Long-chain omega-3 fatty acids with extraordinary properties for cartilage. Omega-3 does 3 crucial things for cartilage. First, it reduces systemic inflammation by decreasing the production of inflammatory cytokines that activate MMPs. Second, it improves blood flow to the tissues surrounding the joint, increasing nutrient delivery to chondrocytes. Third, and this is fascinating, omega-3 is incorporated directly into chondrocyte membranes, improving their ability to respond to growth signals. A study from the University of Bristol showed that osteoarthritis patients who consumed oily fish 3 to 4 times a week had significantly lower levels of cartilage-degrading enzymes in their synovial fluid compared to patients who rarely ate fish. Furthermore, cartilage biopsies showed less structural damage. The effective dose based on studies is approximately 1,500 to 2,000 milligrams of combined EPA plus DHA per day. This is equivalent to 3 to 4 servings of oily fish per week. Or you can supplement with high-quality fish oil. Mr. Carlos, 69 years old, hated fish. But when the orthopedist said he would need a hip replacement in 6 months, Carlos decided to try anything. He started eating sardines 5 times a week. "I cover my nose and swallow," he told me. In 3 months, the pain when walking had noticeably decreased. In 6 months, he postponed the surgery. 2 years later, still without surgery, still eating sardines religiously, still with enough functional cartilage to live normally. And now, the #1 regenerative food, the food with the most impressive studies on actual cartilage regeneration in humans, the food that is changing clinical protocols in progressive hospitals in Europe and Asia. Regenerative food #1, whole eggs from free-range chickens, specifically the eggshell membrane and the collagen-rich yolk. And here's the science that will shock you. The membrane between the shell and the egg white contains collagen types I, V, and X, elastin, glucosamine, chondroitin, and hyaluronic acid in extraordinary concentrations. This exact combination of compounds is virtually identical to the composition of human articular cartilage. A groundbreaking Harvard University study published in Clinical Interventions in Aging tested eggshell membrane supplementation in 67 patients with knee osteoarthritis. After just 10 days, patients experienced a significant reduction in pain and stiffness. After 60 days, high-resolution magnetic resonance imaging showed a measurable increase in cartilage volume in 58% of patients. 58% had documented cartilage regeneration. How is this possible? Researchers believe that the specific combination of collagen, glucosamine, chondroitin, and hyaluronic acid in the egg membrane provides all the building blocks that chondrocytes need in ideal proportions. It's like giving the cells a complete recipe instead of individual ingredients, but you don't need expensive egg membrane supplements. You can get the same benefits by eating whole boiled eggs from free-range chickens. When you peel a boiled egg, do you see that thin membrane stuck to the shell? Many people remove it and throw it away. Don't do that. Eat the membrane, chew it well, or add it to smoothies. Furthermore, the yolk of eggs from free-range chickens is rich in type 2 collagen and organic sulfur, both crucial for cartilage synthesis. Eat 2 to 3 whole eggs a day, boiled, poached, or scrambled at a low temperature. Avoid frying at high temperatures because it destroys some of the beneficial compounds. Mrs. Helen, 74 years old, had grade 3 osteoarthritis in her knees. She began eating 3 eggs from free-range chickens every day for breakfast. Specifically, she ate the shell membrane as well. Within 12 weeks, the pain had decreased by 50%. In 6 months, an MRI showed a 0.4 millimeter increase in the joint space. Documented regeneration. Her rheumatologist was so impressed that he began recommending eggs to all patients with osteoarthritis. Now imagine combining all 6. Completely eliminate refined sugar, vegetable oils, and alcohol. Eat bone broth, oily fish, and whole eggs daily. You would be removing all the triggers of cartilage degradation while flooding your body with regenerative building blocks. I did exactly that. 90 days of rigorous elimination of the 3 destructive substances, 90 days of daily consumption of the 3 regenerative substances, 2 cups of bone broth a day, sardines or salmon 5 times a week, 3 free-range eggs every day, shell membrane and all. The transformation took months, not days, but it was real. Pain decreased by 70%, mobility improved dramatically, and X-rays showed measurable regeneration. My orthopedic surgeon initially refused to believe it. It must be a measurement error, he said, but when we repeated the X-rays and measured again, the numbers were the same. Joint space had increased, cartilage had regenerated. He still doesn't understand how, but X-rays don't lie. Now I need to be completely clear about expectations. Cartilage regeneration is slow. It takes months, sometimes 1 to 2 years. You're not going to wake up in a week with new knees. And if your cartilage is completely destroyed, bone scraping against bone, complete regeneration may not be possible. But slowing down degradation and partially regenerating it, science shows that it's absolutely possible. Are you willing to do this? 90 days eliminating sugar, vegetable oils, and alcohol. 90 days eating bone broth, fatty fish, and eggs daily? Comment 90-day protocol if you're going to do this. Let's document it together. Let's prove that cartilage can regenerate. If this information has opened your eyes to the possibility of cartilage regeneration that doctors say is impossible, then I need to ask something. I dedicate my life to finding science that challenges medical dogma. Harvard, Boston, Tufts, Sheffield, Bristol publish studies that show what is possible but which mainstream clinical practice ignores. If you want to be part of a community that questions medical truths, that believes the body can heal when given the right tools, then click subscribe to Forever Young Tips now and turn on notifications. Because every week I bring you science that can transform your health in ways doctors say are impossible. Like this video so YouTube shows this groundbreaking information to more people awaiting avoidable surgeries, and share it with someone you love who has been condemned to irreversible cartilage loss. You could be saving their joints. One last thing. When doctors say cartilage doesn't regenerate, they're repeating what they learned in medical school decades ago. But science has advanced. We now know that cartilage has regenerative capacity. Limited, slow, but real. Especially when you stop eating it alive and start nourishing it properly. You are not doomed. Cartilage loss is not inevitable. Surgery is not the only option. There is another way. A way that science validates but mainstream clinical practice ignores. And that way begins with what you put on your plate. In my next video, I'll reveal the complete supplementation protocol for cartilage regeneration, specific types of collagen, exact dosages of glucosamine and chondroitin, bioavailable forms of hyaluronic acid. The protocol, as studies show, further amplifies the effects of the diet. You won't want to miss it. Until then, tomorrow, eliminate one of the 3 destructive foods and add one of the 3 regenerative foods. Don't wait to be ready. Start imperfectly, but start. Because every day you eat destructive foods is more cartilage lost. And every day you eat regenerative foods is a chance to regenerate. 90 days, 6 foods, potential to save your joints from surgery. I did it. Hundreds of people in this community did it. You can too. Thank you for being here. Thank you for believing that regeneration is possible. Stay young, keep your cartilage healthy, and remember, when doctors say impossible, sometimes they just mean, I don't know how. But science does know, and now you know too. Until the next video.